Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where for the majority of this week, I have been ill. But prior to getting sick, and now that I'm in recovery, I've been daily driving this 2026 Honda Passport TrailSport Elite. Now, I was quite jealous of my colleague TheTopher, who got to go to Puerto Rico for the first drive event of this new 4th generation Passport, but I have finally gotten my hands on one here back in Michigan in this gorgeous sunset orange color. And today, we're going to show you a bit of what this is like to live with. I have actually been able to drive this some when I haven't been in bed trying to beat my fever. And it is actually time to return this to TheTopher, so we're going to be heading out to Plymouth to his house. It's about a 20-minute drive. We're going to hit the performance loop, but then we'll get on the highway and see what this is actually like to sit in, because a lot of these kind of soft roader, off-road oriented regular SUVs are generally just daily driven in day-to-day fashion. Of course, this is quite capable, as you all can see if you go and watch TheTopher's off-roading video while he was in Puerto Rico. But I always like to be realistic. I like to see what these cars are like to drive from day to day. Somebody angered a semi-truck over there. My apologies. Well, I mean, I didn't do anything wrong, but sorry you had to hear that. What was I saying? Oh yes, so this is new for the 2026 model year. This is now the 4th generation of the Honda Passport. And it's funny to say that because the Passport first existed in the 1990s as a rebadged Isuzu Rodeo, and it went on quite a long hiatus from 2002 to 2019 when it came back for its 3rd generation. Now, I drove quite a few 3rd gen Passports, and I always liked them, as I kind of do with every Honda product that I drive, but there was something about the 3rd gen Passport that just kind of didn't get the soul of the OG Passports, and I think this one actually captures it perfectly. And I think it's the C-pillar design right here. It kind of looks like an Isuzu Rodeo right here, and I absolutely love that. This kind of captures that free-spirited 90s vibe. I'm trying to break through the brain fog of the flu right now to bring you this review, so please forgive me. But anyway, before we take this out on the road and show you what it's like to drive, let's poke around it. And I've got to say, exterior design-wise, I absolutely love it. I love kind of like the squared off front end, and the fact that Honda's kind of tried to accentuate bigness, which is something that they don't usually do. I think they're really trying to come after the Toyota 4Runner with this, and right off the bat, this is better because it doesn't have a stupid 4-cylinder turbo. This still has a V6, the J35, in this new 4th generation Passport, producing 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. That is mated to a new 10-speed automatic. The 3rd gen had a 9-speed, and this is, of course, all-wheel drive. This is available in only a couple of trims and sub-trims almost. The base model, which is the RTL, and then this, which is the TrailSport, but this is the TrailSport Elite. There are also kind of sub-models of that, like the TrailSport Blackout and the RTL Blackout, and many of other trims that you can go on the Honda configurator and check out. But this TrailSport Elite starts around $52,000. The RTL base starts around $44,000. This one as spec is $54,000. So this is about $10,000 more expensive than a base model as spec in typical Honda form. They don't really let you pick many options. A lot of them are just dealer accessories. So this comes kind of already pre-spec'd for you depending on which trim you get. The TrailSport Elite gets you lots of nice goodies inside: heated and ventilated seats, a 12-speaker Bose sound system, sunshades for the rear seat passengers and things. But I just love this kind of new corporate language for Honda. I think it's working out quite well for them, and they haven't gone overboard too far into the future. Nothing is Tesla-fied with these vehicles, and it's just quite good. So, okay, let's poke around this and hope my head doesn't explode from all of the pressure that's in it right now. Opening up the trunk, you can see in here quite a large area. Now, the coolest thing about this is actually a feature that's not installed in this particular Passport, and that is a picnic table. You can see we have these little mounting points for where a picnic table could sit and come out like an old school Honda CR-V. So that's cool. Honda loves their dealer accessories. Otherwise, though, you have this little split folding floor, which is hard to tell that it even folds, but you've got this little compartment here, which it looks like Honda is currently using for a front plate frame. Luckily, we don't need that in Michigan. And then if you lift this up, you can see we have a compact spare. Now, this is not very big, so I don't really think you'd want to go super far with this, but if you are out on the trail, this would save you in case of an emergency. And even with that being under there, not chassis mounted, we still have plenty of room here in this Passport. Now, the load surface is quite high, so you're going to be lifting things up into this as opposed to sort of sliding them in. But this area is just so massive, and even with these seats down, which I'm actually just now seeing that there's not really any convenient way to fold these down from back here unless, you go like that. But you can see this just has an immense amount of room in the back. And like anything these days, the Honda Passport has gotten a bit bigger in just about every dimension for its 4th generation. And this is one that seems a little bit more justified because I think Honda just wants you to feel big in this car. They're really kind of pushing this bigness. And it's also justified because the sibling vehicle to this, the Pilot, is a 3-row SUV, whereas the Passport is only, and I'm sure will only ever be, a 2-row. So let's go ahead and step into this. Since this is a quite big 2-row, it means we just have unbelievable space in the back seat. Sat behind myself at 5'11", I just feel like I'm swimming in this cabin. It's just like a big glass cube in here. It's huge. You have just tons of space. You've got a fold down armrest with some cup holders, but the middle passenger could easily block that and not have a super heinous like drivetrain hump. You can sit right here, and I'm quite comfortable. So you could take all adults here in this Honda Passport with no problem. You also get this quite nice climate display here in the middle, or climate panel rather, with heated rear seats. That's on the Elite model only. Got a wall style outlet, some USB-C ports. You've got seat back pockets on both seats, including these little upper pockets. Love to see that. Here's those sunshades I told you guys about. Riding in luxury in the back. I don't know how I feel about this trim that they've put on. It's a little hard to see with our brutal direct sun lighting today, but it's almost like a camo carbon fiber type thing going on. Door panels themselves are pretty nice. You've got nice squish here, and you've got even more cup holders, just tons of places to put things, and just kind of adds to the overall appeal of daily driving this. Quite good packaging, as it seems. They've used their space wisely here with this Passport, and I love the sort of floor mats that Honda puts in these cars. They're just like house mats. Like it's a mat you'd step in the laundry room of a house to clean your shoes off. And it's nice that they're kind of a rugged cloth floor mat, because even with the TrailSport trim level, you don't get standard all-weather mats, which I think is a little bit weird, being that this is kind of the off-road oriented car. But anyway, your Honda dealer will happily sell you some all-weather floor mats at an extra cost. One thing I don't love about the design is this fake hood scoop here on the front, but we'll get over it. You can see you have what is essentially a real hood scoop right below it, so I wonder why they couldn't connect that. Anyway, there is our J35 naturally aspirated V6. I love to applaud Honda for not switching to a 4-cylinder turbo in their big SUVs like this. This and the Pilot both still get a proper V6, and this sounds quite good as well. That was one thing I always loved about the 3rd-gen Passport, was how much the V6 screamed, and this one does the same thing. You can see our intake here, pretty big engine cover, but otherwise just a very honest looking engine bay. Lots of dust from, I suspect, Puerto Rico in this car. I assume this was one that was at the launch event. So we do have some skid plates with this TrailSport on this particular car, ones that have been used up. We have a metal skid plate under the front. We have one for the fuel tank, and Honda will also sell you some accessory skid plates, in particular one that goes off of the front bumper in the front to protect some things that are a little further forward than the factory skid plate protects. For wheels and tires, we have an 18-inch wheel wrapped in a General Grabber AT Sport. Now, this is actually a pretty respectable tire. This doesn't make a ton of noise on the highway like I thought it would. 275/60R18, which is actually the largest tire ever fitted to a production Honda. How about that? What a treat for us here in the Passport TrailSport Elite. We have capless filling, and I don't think this requires premium, so you can actually run this on the cheaper side. show you what it looks like up front. This door panel pretty much reflects the one that you saw in the back. Just lots of places to put things, cup holder, extra little cubby. We have these real leather, as far as I know, perforated seats here in the front. Of course, power. We have lumbar adjust. We've got TrailSport here on the headrests. Lots of orange stitching. And Honda will actually sell you a brown interior, which I do wish this car had. We just have the solid black. But if you want to add some more color into your life, you do actually have a choice. So proud of Honda for that. And that is just the coolest animation there on that little digital gauge cluster. Let's fire it up. In the middle, of course, a 12.3-inch infotainment screen. Why is every infotainment 12.3 inches in the year 2025? That just seems to be like the magic number for every single manufacturer. Anyway, this is Honda's newest Google-based system. As you can see, everything in here has worked fine, and I like the little click noises it makes. Big fan of that. You can see I've got my Apple CarPlay connected wirelessly. You can also wire in with this little USB-C port right here. You've also got one for charging and one for your radar detector. In here, you've got a little cubby, which I thought maybe was for a phone, but my iPhone, whatever generation this is, Max, does not fit in there. It kind of just dangles out. So if you have a smaller phone, or, I don't know, what do you put in there, a Cliff Bar or something? In the middle, 2 cup holders, push button shifter, drive mode selector, parking brake, massive center console you can see demonstrated by a bag of pretzels currently, and I could fit probably 50 more bags in there. Lots of room in the middle. Got a glove box that's very hard to open for some reason. There you go, now it's easy. And then on top of the glove box, you've got a little storage compartment, which reminds me of the Toyota Grand Highlander. Vent placement seems to be pretty good. Passport in script here. But what I like about this actually is that they haven't made this like orange letters or something obnoxious. I think that looks nice, just kind of low key here in black next to your physical volume knob. Thank you so much for that, Honda. And we have blank switches over here, which I can only assume are there for accessory installation, because this is the top trim Passport, so we should not be missing buttons, but maybe if you wire in a light bar or something, it's convenient to have these options open for that. Space up there to put your sunglasses, and we've got some pretty big, nice sliding sun visors, which we may need for today's sunny drive. But anyway, let's show you what this is like on the road. This is the normal push button shifter we've been seeing in Hondas for quite a while at this point. Into reverse, pretty high quality 360 camera as well as reverse camera. Into drive, the front camera for some reason does not automatically come up, but you do have this button on the end of the wiper stalk that will make it come to life for you. And this will stay up, I think, up to 15. So there's 10 miles an hour it's staying on. 13, 14, 15. Yep, 15 is the magic number. And if you're in one of the new drive modes, which we'll show you right now while we're in this parking lot here, trail mode, that will automatically put the camera up for you, as well as your track lines there you can see. Now what's cool about trail mode is when you slow back down under 15, it automatically puts the camera back up. So that's cool. You don't have to spam the camera button. I was driving the new Palisade XRT, and every time I'd slow back down, I'd have to hit the stupid camera button because the thing kept disengaging. But this is actually very convenient for trail driving, and I do love to see that. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you in trail mode, because we're not going to be able to use anything else with it today on our little highway commute sort of situation. But my favorite thing about just normally driving, is that the right way to say that? My favorite thing about dailying this 2026 4th Gen Passport is how light the steering is. This is what I like to see in SUVs like this. I want these to be easy to drive. And this is ultra light steering, like feather light, like Hyundai Palisade light. And I like that about it. I don't think this car has anything to prove with like simulated heaviness. I think they've done the simulated bigness enough in here that they were able to kind of draw the line at a perfect spot. And just beautiful inputs. I mean, allow me to talk about Honda's racing heritage for a second. Because racing heritage doesn't only give performance cars an advantage, it gives all cars advantage. Because it means that the company knows how to properly calibrate things. And the story's no different here with this new Passport. Every input is so natural. A lot of SUVs in this class, and just regular SUVs in general, they suffer from like very touchy throttles, which is so weird to think about. Because you think Janice in the Starbucks drive-thru would not want to be like flooring her Traverse into the car in front of her, but for some reason these cars have these weird touchy throttles, but the Passport is not that way. I've got a nice linear throttle response here, and even if you want to dull it down some more, you can put this into Econ. I'm going to go into Sport to make it a little bit touchier as we go around this corner. But you've got beautiful smooth shifts from this newly integrated 10-speed automatic. And the handling is actually quite good as we catch up to this Janice and her Chevy Equinox here. You can put this transmission into Sport. You can use your paddle shifters and control it manually. Pay our respects to this Acura TL that has a blowout and has been tagged by the county to be picked up. That's very sad. But what I'm trying to say is, no matter how you drive this Passport, the inputs are natural. You don't have to overthink anything. And anyone could get in this and drive it very normally and smoothly and well. Of course, this wouldn't be a Topher Drives video unless we got this off the line and showed you a proper 0 to 60. So let's do that now. Put this back into automatic. Let's brake torque this off the line. Why not? Smooth, confident changes from that 10-speed automatic. Put this back into normal. Put the gearbox back into drive. And we can start talking about my second favorite thing about this new Passport TrailSport, and that is the ride quality. This, of course, has different suspension tuning for the TrailSport variant, which actually, I shouldn't say of course, because the third-gen Passport TrailSport was basically just an appearance package with different tires. This one kind of goes to the next level. We have different dampers in this. It sits a little bit higher. We have skid plates. There are more things to aid this in being very off-road capable. But what I love about a good off-road capable car daily driving in Michigan is that a lot of our roads are basically off-roading. We have huge potholes and things, lots of imperfections, where this car really shines. All of its off-road tech and things to make it comfortable on the trail make it comfortable on regular Michigan roads. You can see lots of imperfections here. The car just doesn't care. It soaks everything up. It's a very soft ride quality. It's not floaty though. I mean, there's a pretty good amount of body roll, but it's not floating all over the place. It still goes arrow straight down the road. Lots of confidence here. Okay, let's get this on the highway. Let's get this over to the Topher's house. We could probably tow that Acura TL. This Passport can tow up to 5,000 pounds. This does have the hitch on the back as well. So I think, I don't know, with a trailer in that Acura TL, we'd probably be right at about capacity, which really is all you need, because what are you actually towing with this? Probably just your Honda side-by-side out to the dunes. merging onto the highway is absolutely no issue with this J35. Plenty of power and torque, even though this is a pretty heavy beast. Would have maybe liked to see power bump to over 300, but we're getting pretty close. And I like the reliability aspect of this car. No turbos, just a simple, honest V6. Honda wants to keep this reliability reputation, unlike some other brands in the segment. You see Toyota switching over to a lot of 4-cylinder turbo cars, but I also like that you can take this around a corner like this at 70 miles an hour, and it's not like all over the place. I love that a company like Honda can blend this like performance pedigree into an off-road car like this and make it just a really nice, confident daily driver. While on the highway, you've got a little bit of NVH from these general grabbers, but this is kind of in general just a loud section of highway. You've got, I would say, pretty good sound deadening because you don't get a lot of wind noise. You don't get noise from the windshield or the pillars. It's all road noise. And luckily, you can drown that out with this 12-speaker Bose, which we'll test out once we get onto the next highway. Now, as good as Honda is at making a car good to drive for you, they're not great at making the car drive itself. Set the cruise control here. We're going to jump back over. Set this cruise a little bit lower. Now, there's no problem with the car actually staying in the lane here. The lane keep assist does a pretty good job, but it comes down to when you actually have to make a pass. All of this is very easily adjustable on the steering wheel. You can see your adaptive cruise distance there, steering assist. It all exists in one side of the wheel. But if I want to make a pass, we're going to kind of exaggerate the speed a little bit for a second. So it's already slowing down. If I want to make a pass, it's still decelerating, still decelerating. Okay, now it should be accelerating. Come on, we're impeding traffic. There you go. Okay, still not up to the speed I want it to be at. Still not there. There it goes. Okay, so there's just a lot that goes into this. It takes a lot longer than it should. There's like no sense of urgency. We saw this in the Honda Accord when we took that to Wisconsin and back with the Topher and Q the Chaotic. And we kind of just turned the adaptive cruise off because it was really irritating to live with. So far this week, over the 107 miles that I've put on this car, I've done 16.8 mpg, which admittedly not very good, but V6 shaped like a rolling brick. I mean, what do you expect? The only thing I can say positive is that this doesn't take premium. If it took premium, that would be a little bit harder of a pill to swallow. But I think if you were going to be doing more highway driving, we haven't done a ton of highway with this, you'd be seeing probably in the low 20s. Heated steering wheel in here works well. I have used that a lot this week to warm my freezing sick bones. It's actually been quite a terrible week weather-wise, but today the sun's come out for us, which is good for me, bad for filming, but you know, we're getting through it. Well, let's put this back into sport mode, which is one above normal. And we'll take a zesty entrance ramp. Why not? We're going to see how fast we can catch these people. Put the gearbox into sport. We're already catching them, but I'm not even trying. All right, here we go. We're just going to let this coast for as long as we can, and then we'll get this going. All right. This is pretty wild that these tires are not complaining at 53 on a cloverleaf. Ooh, that steering wheel gets very hot very quick. Yeah, the handling here is pretty confidence-inspiring. It's body roll, but it's not scary body roll. It's like you kind of can use the body roll to your advantage. You get a little subtle red glow on the cluster when you're in sport mode. Put this back into drive, back into normal to merge in a normal fashion. All right, well, as we tackle this last little bit of highway before we go and see the Topher to pick up a 911 Carrera T, I'm quite excited about that. Let's give you a sound system test of this 12-speaker Bose. Quite a powerful bass. You've definitely got a zesty subwoofer in here somewhere. Charlie from the Daily Motor would be able to tell you exactly where that is. So go watch his video if you want an in-depth review of this 12-speaker Bose. But I'm here to tell you that it's quite powerful, it's quite juicy, and I've enjoyed listening to my music in it this week. As far as sitting in this Honda Passport ergonomically, it's quite good. I think they're kind of coming for Toyota and Lexus and Land Rover for like this high commanding seating position and just kind of the squared offness of all of this stuff. I do kind of feel like I'm sat in a Land Rover right now. You can see almost all the way to the front of that hood. I've got the seat in the lowest possible position, and the door panel's a little high to be able to rest your elbow and drive like this, and it's also a pretty hard surface. So I don't know that you'd want to drive it like that, like a proper Land Cruiser or 4Runner or something, but you can rest your elbows down low. You've got soft surfaces on the center console as well as the door panel. And the steering wheel feels quite good in the hands too. It's the perfect thickness. Visibility out of this is quite wonderful. It's got a massive rear window, massive side mirrors. It's kind of just like a big fishbowl. Your biggest blind spot is the Isuzu Rodeo C-pillars. So keep that in mind, but you do have the blind spot monitoring little bits there on the mirrors. And although I said that Honda kind of accentuates the bigness of this car, I don't think it feels overly large. Just driving it on this very normal American highway right now, I don't feel like I'm going over one side of the lane or anything. It feels fine. It feels like a very normal size. It's just great, this thing. I mean, I really enjoyed the 100 or so miles that I've put on this week. Very minimal complaints. The only thing I'll say is that if you're okay giving up some features like the Bose and the heated and ventilated seats and things, you could probably swing the RTL and it wouldn't really feel like that much of a downgrade. I worry about the sound system, though. That's the only thing, is that Honda does make you kind of get a pretty high trim to get the Bose. They do hide that behind a paywall, so it's the biggest shame that they don't let you choose individual options. So let's jump off the highway and we'll wrap this one up for real before we go turn this into a 911 Carrera T. Brake pedal feels great, nice and linear and progressive, just like every input in this car. It's very easy to master the controls. I love also that Honda puts the little version of the car in the cluster, so when I put my turn signal on here, you can see that come up. If I take my foot off the brakes, those go away, brakes come on. Yes, I love that, and it's cool actually that it stays up in this cluster without you having to have the cruise control active. So your little companion is just always there. It's like driving in third person in a video game. I also like that you have a physical button to control the rear climate control, and you can also lock your children out of it if you hit rear lock. Kids, stop messing with the climate control. Done. They can no longer, actually now it's locked. Done. They can no longer mess with it. That's it. Vents are in good spots. They've got actual tabs on them. Though it would have been cool to see maybe the little kind of knobs that stick out, like on the Civic and the Accord, but that's okay. You guys can hear a bit more of that howl from these general grabbers on a perfectly smooth section of road here. My ears are full of fluid right now, and I can hear it, so I know it's probably not great. Like I always say, though, tires are easily swappable. But if you're committing to the bit with the TrailSport, like, you kind of just have to get over it, because you're going to have some sort of an all-terrain. You can't have a TrailSport and just put a regular all-season on it. That would not look proper. I will say, this V6 is very, very quiet. I remember it being a little bit louder in the third generation car. I think the quietness here is okay, because when you open it up, when you get kind of 5,000-6,000 RPM, you do hear it. It does still make a good sound. This is a very nice daily driver. It does all the things I want it to do. It's great for Michigan. The soft suspension, the bigger tires, able to run stuff over, soften blows, and the interior is great as well. It's all very easy to use. Infotainment's great. It's got a volume knob. It's got a physical climate control panel. The seats are comfy. I can see out of it easily. It's a good size. I mean, what more can you really ask for? It's really not even that expensive for this class. I mean, around $50,000 is that's just how much a new car is these days. The average new car transaction cost is over 50 grand. And I would say this is well over an average new car. I mean, you could have yourself an orange Honda Passport TrailSport Elite. Why would you not? Alrighty, guys. Well, I guess we can kind of plant the scenario of some business official going to the office here to wrap this one up, because we're in an industrial complex. But this will be it for us today. We're going to park this up. We'll give you one last look at this Passport TrailSport. I don't know that this is a car you show up in wearing a suit. I don't think that, at least with the orange paint, this is a car you kind of show up to, like the turkey trot on Thanksgiving, and your shoes are the same color as the exterior of the car. Anyway, let's pull in here. I quite like this push button shifter. It's quite user friendly, easy to get the hang of. Really good quality cameras, makes everything nice and easy. They're positioned well. All right, that's it. Parking brake up, stop start button off. I keep thinking it's here. It's up a little bit higher. I think this is maybe where they should have put it, but that would have interrupted this nice leather trim. So maybe not. Let's show you this thing one last time. Apologies for the sick voice today, but we can't leave a Honda unfilmed. That would be quite sad. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for us. If I left anything out, please let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. If you couldn't tell, I quite like this new Honda Passport, and I'm excited to drive some more, maybe the base model, but I think the TrailSport may be the way to go, because I think the additions here really highlight the overall design, the ruggedness, the squared offness of this new Passport. So this is probably the way I'd have it, in orange as well. All right, that's the actual end of the video. Thank you guys again. We'll see you next time. Take care.